This conference will now be recorded.
Right, we're going to go ahead and call the meeting to order at 5:30. Roll call. At-large Cummins.
Here.
At-large Poston.
Here.
Ward 1 Coob.
Yes.
Ward 2 Home.
Yes.
And Ward 3 Johnston is absent. Okay. Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, next item on the agenda is approval of the agenda. Any additions, comments, questions about the agenda?
Motion approved.
Ooh, that was close. Motion by Poston, seconded by Helm.
Cummins,
Yes.
Coob,
Yes.
Poston,
Yes.
Helm.
Yes.
All right, moving on to the communications portion. If there's anyone present that would wish us to address the council, now would be the time to do so. There are no scheduled communications. No? Okay. Move on to the consent agenda. These are routine items that will be enacted by one motion without separate discussion unless a council member requests separate consideration. Approval of the council meeting minutes of August 11th, 2025. Approval of the library minutes, July 22nd, 2025. The library director's report, July 2025. Approval of the total maintenance, Inc. total coverage maintenance agreement. That's for the library. I do have a couple questions about that before we do an approval. We'll circle back to that. Approval of the planning and zoning minutes of August 14th, 2025. Approval of a one-time water and sewer exemption for 116 Elizabeth Drive. Approval of water plant controls purchase. Approval of the purchase of the diesel engine diagnostic tool. Approval of the tanker of power plant fuel. A tanker of power plant fuel. Chamber request to decorate the library lawn for Scarecrow Fest. Approval of the inflatable fire education house with the grant award. And approval of claims, the claims register, which includes claims paid under the current purchase policy. And I just wanted to ask, since Denise is here, she might have the answers to the question about this coverage agreement for the library. It's in kind of at the beginning of your packet if you haven't looked at it, but it seems ridiculously expensive to me. And I'm wondering, I guess I'm questioning, is this a regular, I mean, it looked like there's an annual or a 4-year agreement for this.
Yes.
Is this the same company that we've used in the past?
Yes,
And
we've
is,
used it since I became director.
okay,
We were not getting the service that we needed with our boiler and the air conditioning, and we were getting different cans in the pot, and it was costing us more money to do it that way.
okay,
So TMI, we signed a contract with them. They also did the courthouse and the jail.
okay. So in the contract, it says that they're going to come 4 times a year. Do we really need maintenance on our boiler and our air conditioner 4 times a year?
Yes.
Why?
It's part of the inspection. That's part of what they've done. They change the filters. They make sure everything's running properly. That's what it's been.
Does that seem excessive to anyone other than me? I don't know. It just seems like once a year for the boiler, once a year for the air conditioning unit seems reasonable, but 4 times a year? I mean, they only run half the year. I don't know. Does anyone else have an opinion, or am I just...
It's in our budget, so
Well, I understand that, but if it's money that we don't need to spend, that you don't need to spend out of your budget, I mean, this isn't my area of expertise. I'm just asking a question.
I unfortunately don't know enough about boilers to be able to tell you.
I mean, I have a boiler in my house. We don't maintenance it ever unless it's broken. And I don't know. It just seems like that's...
We just wrote Terry.
Well, I don't know. I'm asking the question because I honestly don't really. It just seems like a lot to me. I don't know.
Residentially, you usually change your air filter twice a year.
My
But
filter, I changed
I
twice.
don't know
Yeah,
commercially.
exactly.
Yeah,
I don't either.
I don't know. No one else have an opinion? Any of you have an opinion out there? Like, no? Terry? Randy? No? No? Randy's like, I'm not touching that. Okay. I'm just asking a question. No?
What
Okay.
about-
Well,
I mean, is that what we're doing? Is this the boiler and air conditioning? They're not looking at the elevator or anything like that?
Well, let's see.
There's lots of
the
stuff in there.
elevators with Schumacher.
Yeah, no, looks like it's just it looks like it's just HVAC, but
The jail and the courthouse all go with them because when you have issues, they're there, they fix it, they stay proactive instead of retro.
They all have the same thing of if since they're maintaining it, if something goes wrong, it's not their. I mean, anything malfunctions, it's not their fault. I mean, they have zero liability. Is it the same?
I mean, if
Okay.
you read through this, it's
The
pretty
contract
much
is the same with the city or the county.
as
courthouse,
this. I don't
yes.
know. That I don't know.
I'm just asking.
Yeah, that I don't know.
I mean, I
We
get
went with companies here in town and they were nickeling and diming us to death and it wasn't working. And now we've actually got everything working the way it should be working. It has been working that way. If you want me to look for something else, that's fine, but if you stay local or try to find somebody else, I went with them because, like I said, the courthouse and the jail both do. So,
I mean, maybe you could find out from the courthouse or the jail. I mean, we could
I don't know, I'd be curious
see what they say.
on what a twice a year program would be. At the school I used to work for, we did our boilers before the usage season, and then we did it afterwards. We give them a complete tear down and go through with what have you. So, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what the right answer is either. It just seemed like an awful lot of money. I mean, it's going to be almost $7,500 a year by July of 2027 based on this payment schedule.
well, that also covered last year that we didn't have a contract. He backdated that.
Oh.
So we've already paid some of that anyway, if you noticed. We didn't have our contract.
There's the July 1st through June 30th, 2025.
So if we're gonna do it, we're gonna have to review the next 3 years, which is fine, but part of that is we've already done.
Yeah. You see
So they
that
prorated
first-
it into the
yeah,
next.
because
Yeah.
that first line is July 1st.
Okay. Well, I don't have a vote. I'm asking the question. You guys get to decide.
I mean, I just don't.
Oh God.
What's happening right now?
I know, right.
Oh.
Okay. Well, that's good. That's the only thing I had that was the only thing I wanted to bring up or mention under consent agenda. So carry on.
That's the question. If anybody wants to make a motion, did anybody have anything else they wanted to say or concerns?
Yeah, is there
with
anything
that?
else that needs brought up or was the only one thing that I
That 4 times a year, that's for all 3 buildings, correct? They come out and maintenance all 3 of them?
no,
It's
it's
the
just the
library.
library.
That's the library by itself?
Yeah.
It is all fixed in. I thought it was $6,000 for all 3 units.
No, it's the library. And if I'm reading right, it says
The air only
I
works
lost it.
about, like you said, the air only works 4 months out of the year.
Well, that was my point.
I don't know.
Mike
I mean,
was
can you ask
the
them if
boiler
they
only
can do
runs
it?
half the year and
If
so does the
they
air
cut it in
conditioner.
If you ask them to do it, buy instead of having 4 times a year.
Did they give you a reason why they did?
And ask them.
Yeah, I mean, you could
Yeah.
ask them, I
But we
suppose,
do
and
have to
see.
pay
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
that
Yep.
we already have
Understand.
on, so.
yeah, sure.
Twice a year.
Might as well find out and see, I guess. I just don't know enough about something like that to know.
Well, if Rob Schmidt went to the point of writing this up, maybe he can write something to the council that compares twice a year, 4 times a
Yeah,
year.
that's what I'm wondering.
Or I guess justify the 4 times a year. I mean, it just
Yeah, there
doesn't-
might be a good reason for it.
Yeah, that it just I don't. It just seems like a lot to me.
So we'll pull that one out until they get back to us.
Well,
Yeah, you'll have to
gotta
approve.
approve the first line of that. Yeah, and then if Denise wants to find out if they can do twice a year, if that's, maybe find out why there would be 4 times if there's a valid reason for it. Let us know what you find out. Otherwise, I would make a motion to approve, and we have to pay that first line. The backdated portion for sure.
I second that.
And then we can just see what comes back.
So, motion by Cummins, seconded by Helm. You're okay.
Okay.
Did you get that, or do you need us to repeat the motion? Are you okay?
Yeah, I got
You got it. Okay.
it. Coop,
Yes.
Cummins,
Yes.
Passion,
Yes.
Helm.
Okay. Next item on the agenda is the public hearing. It's a public hearing on proposed amendments to Chapter 166 of the City Code, creating a public use zoning district and amending other provisions related thereto. So, a motion to open the public hearing.
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Cummins, seconded by Poston.
Cummins,
Yes.
Passion,
Yes.
Helm, Coop.
We haven't received any input from the public concerning the public hearing, but I do want to note that in the planning and zoning minutes that you approved it under consent, and then later appearing behind the draft of the public use zoning ordinance that comes under number 4 under city business. Planning and zoning had a meeting, and it is recommending the establishment of the ordinance that you're going to consider tonight.
Any comments from those in the room? No? Quiet group tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, if there's no further comments or questions, or motion to close the public hearing.
Motion.
Okay. Motion by Poston, seconded by Coop.
Cummins,
Yes.
Passion,
Yes.
Helm,
Yes.
Coop.
All right, moving on to city business. First item is discussion and possible action concerning a stormwater project option for the area between East South Street and South Highway 38.
Is Rick on the line?
Yes, he was. Yeah.
Yes,
Rick,
I'm
can you
here.
hear us?
Yep. I'm trying to turn my camera on too, so there we are.
We don't have the large screen available for this, but the council does have your estimate and plan sheet in the meeting packet.
Yeah, and I can't share my screen either. Otherwise, I could do that too. Basically, this project was kind of brought to the city because there's some stormwater concerns in the area behind the Tipton motel. And so we were able to come up with a plan to help mitigate a significant portion of that stormwater. Ideally, projects are designed to 100-year stormwater level. This one, due to certain constraints and costs, we were able to accommodate a 25-year storm. And that's the cost estimate that you're seeing in your council packet was for a 25-year storm, which will capture a significant portion of this, any kind of storm that might happen in that area. Now, what happens after a 25-year storm event, if you go up to like a 50 or 100, there would be a small, it would overtop this little ditch that would be on the motel property and flow how it is currently flowing across that property. If it's under a 25-year storm, the intent is to capture that rainwater, bring it to the detention basin that the city just took ownership of, and we'd make that the capacity a little bit bigger. And another thing that we would do with this project is to underground that stormwater so that that area between Woody's and the bank isn't always saturated with water. So the majority of the water would always flow under the ground at that point to the culvert at the highway. Then there's a contingency in the detention basin to capture the 100-year storm, and to basically it would flow across the ground and it wouldn't necessarily go over top of the detention basin berm, the top of the dike there. So in order to kind of, with this project, we would be trying to solve a few problems in this area. One, just the amount of water going across some of those properties, and then also trying to mitigate the stormwater to get it to the highway culverts in a different way so that those properties aren't as saturated with water. Brian, do you have anything else to add about this project?
No, but I thought I heard someone else's
Yeah.
voice.
I don't see it. There's anybody else there.
No.
Jim? Yeah, I'm like, Jim's muted. There's nobody else there.
Well,
No,
was there someone?
no,
Oh.
there's nobody
Oh,
there.
okay. I think at this point, I want to ask BB to come up. There, you know, as we were talking about it today, I think we've talked to a couple of you. You know, I was looking at this proposal because it seemed to address water crossing South Street near the intersection with Mulberry, and it would take care in large part the water that could be attributable to the city. It wouldn't fix everything, and it wouldn't have anything to do with roots in private tile lines or trees on private property. It was more looking at the city's aspect of this. But the other way of looking at it was to take it in steps that might end with this, but if some of those earlier steps alleviate the problem, then this doesn't become necessary, hopefully. And you were talking to us about the earlier proposal that came from the tile guy for, I think it was the bank or the motel. You want to go into that?
I had kind of a step plan maybe in mind. I've not been directly involved with the project. I've kind of been sideline involved, but I did meet with the Willards. The Willards own the motel, really nice family, nice to visit with. And I had a visit with them maybe a year and a half ago, and kind of looked the area over. I think there's a lot of variables there. It'd be nice to do something for the motel and help them out. Also, I think Garden has a good plan that will help a lot. I do, however, think that to ask the taxpayers to spend $150,000 of their tax money for the benefit of one entity is a pretty big ask. I think Steve met with Tyler in there before we talked to Garden about it. Schwartz.
Schwartz. Yeah, Steve and I did.
What I know about tile people is don't doubt them. They know what they're talking about when it comes to drainage. what if we did, it might have been an $8,000 value, maybe 13, I don't remember exactly what the Swartz bid was or the estimate, but what if that was step one? You get Swartz in there to do that work. I think the trouble isn't so much floodwater backing up as it is a surcharge tile. Well, what if Swartz's new tile alleviated that? And the problem went away from 8,000 as opposed to 150,000. It'd be a lot better. Well, that could be step one. Step two, maybe we work with Randy and Stu, Pizza Hut, and go in and clean out the drainage downstream of the box culvert there. And I talked about that. That could be a public works project potentially. Go in there and haul trees out, get that flowing better again. What if that was step two? And if step one and step two took care of the issue, great. We did it for a lot less money. But if it doesn't, then maybe we progress to step three. We can put this design on the shelf and this engineer project on the shelf and potentially come back to it. I think maybe there's a couple things we could do before that. That was my thought.
That's a good thought.
Well, that was my question today too. Is the more I got to thinking about this, is what I kind of had lost track of. Is Steve and I met with actually the bank, and Todd was there, and we talked about this tiling project. But it seemed like that we kind of went past that. But I wasn't sure why we went past that or why that idea was completely taken off the table. And it seemed like if that was an option to start there to see if that fixed the problem. And like you and I discussed, there's all these trees and roots and brush growing in that waterway. If that's affecting flow underneath Highway 38 from east side to west side, it seems like if there's maybe a reasonable, less expensive fix, because I agree with you. I mean, I think $150,000 of taxpayer money, you're going to have somebody that's not going to be happy with that. And how do we justify that?
Spend $150,000. They get a Q50 storm instead of a Q25, and they still get flooded. Because no matter how much we spend, they're still built perfectly adjacent to the flood. That doesn't change.
So what is 1 and 2 gonna cost? You said $8,000 for tire was.
It's been quite a while.
I know. I was thinking in the $10,000 range, but I couldn't really remember either.
Sure if that was written.
I think that, yeah. I think he just threw that number out.
I think there was an estimate from the tile guy.
Okay.
I think there was two. And I think it had two parts to it. I think one was in the area of 8,000 or 9,000, and that was to go sort of right down the affected area. I think the other one branched off toward the detention area. So when you added them both together, I want to think that there was a number like around 14,000 for the two. And what we offered at the time, we were offering to do a grant to them if they hired it done, and we would then reimburse for the expense of doing that. But I think the hang up might have been that the proposal we had wanted the city's role to end there and asked them to agree to that. And they didn't want to do that. That I think that was what I understood from that. They didn't want to go that far.
Sign off that they would
Right, yeah. But if it didn't have that stipulation, maybe it would come back into play. But I was talking to Mike from Liberty Bank today, and I thought his idea had validity too, and that would be, when that culvert was replaced or installed, Origin identified through the contractor that there were 3 broken tile lines that they repaired and then put the culvert in place. And when they had excavated out, it's, if I remember right, they connected these repaired or replaced tile lines and connected them to existing, and now it's all buried and everything. Well, what I wonder is if that could be exposed at the point of where these new tiles cross under the culvert, if they could be, Mike suggested, connected to longer solid tiles to see if that, if the problem was a clogged tiles on the west side, because I think the determination was that your tile person didn't think they were clogged on the east side.
No, what is, and I'm Mike Lang from Liberty Trust and Savings Bank, and we hired Todd Swartz to do some repair work on some of the tiles that were down there by that culvert. And he did some exploration and pushed some wires up through the existing tile to try to figure out. There's multiple tile that run down through that area. There's one that comes out of an intake that's inside the retention pond, and there's tile that also go further off to the east. I'm not exactly certain how they run, but I believe that there's other tile that run underneath the retention. That swamp that is between the bank and Woody's, I think, is because those tile are taking in water, but they can't do anything except push that water to the surface between right down there by the culvert. And so until the water finally tames down, it stays wet. And you may have seen water coming out of the intake rather than water going into the intake down in that area there. And that's just because it can't go further to the west. So there's a lot of trees in that waterway as you get to the west side of the highway. And that was probably all installed with a perforated tile, and it doesn't take long for tree roots to find their way inside of a perforated tile and then just fill it up, block it completely. But you would have to probably get to, and I believe that Todd told me that he was able to put his camera through all the tile underneath the highway and did not find any obstructions under the highway. So his suspicion was that it was further down line. But it would seem like the thing that you have to do is to locate those tiles and have permission from the landowners, which I think is Stewart and Custom Builders, to be able to do some type of exploration back there to identify exactly where the blockage is. Because water, even if the retention pond probably does need to be repaired so it can do its job. But if it's holding water, it's going to continue to put pressure. That water is going to have to come to the surface someplace. And it'll keep coming to the surface there between the bank and Woody's until that's repaired further down the line. So,
and that's the conversation we had, right?
Yeah.
When Steve and Todd and I met with you.
Yeah,
yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
And so it's really trying to identify, probably getting onto the west side of the highway right away. And doing some digging to identify where are those tiles and how many are there. And then you can do some camera work or do whatever to try to figure out exactly where that obstruction is. But that's those tile, I mean, that's that area that is wet is going to stay wet until that problem down line is repaired. And I mean, ideally, I would say you'd want to put in a decent sized tile that's non-perforated so the roots cannot grow into that tile ever, and then bring those tile together and just get that water away so it can flow. But that's, when the bank owned the motel, we separated that tile. There's a tile that runs under the motel. We separated that tile from all the other tiles and brought it to daylight at the culvert. So it's not connected to any other tile line. And I believe the Blakes have put a relief well out there, kind of dug into that tile line, and so if there is a blockage or it can't flow, and it will come out of that well or that sump pump will take it away so that there's not pressure underneath the motel. That's so, I mean, that, you know, that works. But rerouting the water like you're talking about, taking from that South Street storm sewer outlet and routing it into the storm sewer or that water retention facility would help a lot. I think that it would make the usefulness of that lot east of the motel probably a little bit better, but more importantly, it would take that, when that water flows under a hard storm, it gets up there pretty close to the elevation of the basement of the motel. Maybe not quite, but it gets pretty close. The outbuildings over there will have their toes in water if it rains hard enough. But yeah, definitely, if you can take that storm water out of that from South Street and put it into that retention facility and then control the outflow of that retention facility the way they should be, that would do wonders to that whole area. But it's a combination of both. It's a combination of that, of getting that storm water retention facility to function like it was intended to, and then to figure out where the problem is on the west side of the highway so that the water that's flowing through that tile doesn't have to come to the surface right there by the culvert.
Right.
You know, that it can flow out and go go down the line to whatever it's supposed to go to.
There are several projects down through that area. We're talking about when you get west of the highway. You know, we got the sanitary sewer down through there.
And Brian, you can talk with Todd Schwartz. I'm pretty sure he told me that he didn't find any obstruction under the highway, but he couldn't willy-nilly go out there and start digging in the property that, you know, wasn't the bank's.
One of those projects could interrupt the them tiles pretty easy too. So I like the idea of exploratory on those tiles. You know, flowing. I like that too. That could relieve a lot.
You mean on the west side?
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, repairing that blockage down lines, the only way you're gonna dry it up between the bank and what he's saying. It's just, that's the water coming from further east and north. It's just gonna keep coming to the surface until there's no more pressure.
So are we saying then that the first step would actually be to explore that?
Say again.
So we're saying that the first step would actually be to explore that. Is that what we're saying?
I think my approach, not nobody, but I'd be tempted to put some new tile in there to relieve the tiles that are held back.
Okay.
As a temporary at least. That's gonna do a couple things. It's gonna help dry up the area, more mobile. It's gonna potentially relieve their tile that's backing up and causing most of their issues. And then west side, clean out some trees, explore some tile. A little bit of in-house work up on the detention pond, take some trees out, fix some dike.
But if you did the tile on the east side first, where would it flow to?
I'd like to know what his proposal was, but I think he was probably daylighting it into the box culvert. But I don't know.
Yeah, I could find that.
To me, there's a bunch of veins. They're all going to one spot. These are plugged. We're backing everything up. Just like you said, the water's flowing in, hydraulic pressure pushes everything up. So why not bypass those veins and then come back and figure out why we're doing that and help alleviate all of that, just like you said, to 38. Underneath 38, get that, and then figure out where we're at here. Because I agree, it seems like every time we have something going on around 38, it gets worse and worse. Like Tyler getting plugged, they're getting crushed. And it's no fault of anybody's. Maybe they don't know what's going on, but things are happening.
In my tile experience, sometimes they're so bad, you're better off starting new.
Yep.
At the time he was out doing our tile, he said a lot of it's clay tile too.
Yep.
That's just flat
Mhm.
at
Yep.
this point. You know, whether it's trees or just old age, they're
Yeah.
all collapsing too, so that's also an issue. Tile that's underneath there.
I like Brian's idea as far as putting tiles in, do a little exploring and clean it out. If we can get it done for 15, 20 compared to 150, they'll solve the issue.
Some due diligence too.
Right. We're not throwing money at a lot of money at a problem. We're trying to figure it out.
Well, and that's key, is to
To
figure it
Figure out
out.
what's
before
going
try
on.
to fix
You,
it,
you
that
hate to,
doesn't work.
yeah, you
Yeah.
hate to do
And
something and find out that was the wrong thing to do.
Yes, I'm okay with taking heat for.
Just figure it out, like.
Well, we're
there's an answer,
trying.
We just gotta figure it out.
We're
Right.
trying,
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
But-
That's all we need.
I'm
Yeah.
willing to take heat for 8 to 20,000 versus 150,000.
So I wonder if you make a motion to approve tonight, or maybe you advise us to pull up read up the sports concept. And
I'm gonna
And
make a
bring it back.
motion to re-up the Schwartz, try to find that. And I think that's the direction we want to go. If it's my motion, I guess, and follow that.
I'll second that motion.
Maybe come back to us when you guys find
We
it.
got something together. Yeah, we have it somewhere.
It-
It's been like a
yes.
year ago. Like, so I was trying to remember what you were talking. I'm like, this is all coming back to me now. This is the discussion we had when we met at the bank. And like, I couldn't remember how we got off of that onto this.
And you guys can relay that, or do you need
Oh,
for,
no,
to
we had
Willards?
this idea at the beginning of all of this.
Yeah, but I mean, you'll be able to relay that to Willards, or do you
Yeah,
want
I
us?
got this. This was our original
I
idea
figured.
also.
I figured, I just want to make sure.
Yep. Mhm. We're good with this.
We gotta get
Okay.
that water to go somewhere.
Forward progress. Love
So I think we had a first and a second, right?
I know
Yep.
who made the first.
Postion.
Jason did, right?
And
Yep.
then,
Poston
yeah,
and Helm.
Jason.
Okay. So motion by Poston, seconded by Helm.
Postion,
Yes.
Helm,
Yes.
Coop,
Yeah.
Cummins.
Yes.
Thank you, Brian. Okay, moving on to second item under city business, discussion and possible action concerning stormwater project options for the solar array project change order.
I asked Randy if he could walk you through this. You don't mind?
So, we've been working back and forth, Brian and Terry, on, just really, yeah, just stormwater, retention on the solar project. Both, I mean, during, we have a stormwater permit plan that's already, it's got approved and in place, or it's in place now. But it's the afterwards, and so there's some concerns from them on the water running off the panels and how fast that would infiltrate the ground and how much would run off. So we're not really changing the ground once we're done. It'll be back in the grass. It'll soak in. But because it's running off the panels, how will it soak in fast enough, that kind of thing. So it's all right. Terry brought a plan from BK. That where they had seen somewhere at the bottom edge of each row of panels, they dig in just a French drain. So basically, 1 to 2 foot wide, a foot deep, fill it with wash rock, allow that water to try and catch into there and then dissipate. So that was basically what we did, or what the change order, what the proposal is. But I added a couple options because as I talked through it with Johnson Engineering too, we said that will catch, but once those fill up, it's going to run out. So if we had a 100-year rain, then we would still potentially have quite a bit of runoff. So we talked about 2 options. One was just the same option one, but in each line we would run a 4-inch tile, perforated tile, and then in that rock. And then at the east end, because the natural flow will be west to east because of the way the hill will be, we would, at the east end, we would connect all that into an 8-inch tile, take that, and I have not talked to Brian or anybody about this, but take that across the road there and daylight it somewhere down there, be on the south side of the peak shaving plant, somewhere, whether we went all the way to the ditch through the creek there or just in the hillside or whatever. The other option 3 was, rather than putting a 4-inch tile on every line, we talked about just putting the very middle line and the very south line. We would dig that trench deeper, 2 foot deep, 2 foot wide, 2 foot deep, put an 8-inch tile in each of them, and then connect that same end on the east end. It would save us a little bit of money that way. And so basically the theory was that, if you did have from the top to the middle, if it did run over, it would get caught in that middle line, and then same way from the middle to the bottom. So it's just a couple different options, and we don't have to do either. I mean, I think we would catch most of it with just putting the option 1 in, the French drains, and doing that. I just added a couple options in case you wanted some actual active drainage out of that thing. And that's what we got. So.
You should option 1 to pretty much take care of everything normal rate.
Yeah. And honestly, I think a normal rain, it's not a 2-inch an hour rain. I don't think you're going to get that much runoff anyhow because it'll still soak in. But this allows it if it's it's a year like this year where it was raining every few days, and it's saturated, we get a big rain. I think it would help a lot. But if you get a 3-4 inch an hour rain, then I think the tile lines and the active drainage would be huge.
I get what you're saying, but let's be honest, if we get a 3 to 4 inch rain, there's gonna be a lot of bigger issues than what we're dealing with.
Possibly,
Then we're back to their issue.
Right. This is, and then really it's, really it's the Sager. That's what we're protecting. We're trying to get this water.
Yep.
Make sure we're not
And that's
anything into that.
I was gonna say we're all going. This is all going to the same creek.
Yeah.
I mean, we're
right.
Yeah.
Right.
Did we determine how much
What
runoff
would that be?
we're estimating? And does any of these options make a difference? Or
They'll all make a difference. We did not estimate the runoff yet. So,
okay.
So that just wasn't under our scope. So I had to go back to them.
Yeah.
They haven't got it done.
Okay. I was just curious if that answer changes the better option.
What's that?
You think we'll need that drainage management pond on the west side if we go with the larger 8-inch tile?
I honestly don't think, unless you're trying to solve other issues, if we were, if that retention pond deal was trying to solve other issues, the one by the Sager plant, then, by all means. But I think because the way this hill is going to lay when we get done, it's going to actually push more of the water more east than what it is now, but east and south, and then we could actually take it to the east and over by the peak shaving plant, we'd be on the other side of that hill, to the east of the Sager plant. Not saying that it won't be. There'll still be water going south and then going into that ditch. But I think more of it we could actually control more of it, especially with a tile line and active drainage. We could actually take more of it east and south.
And that's not going to affect our Montgomery Drive project down the line?
Maybe that's going to solve some other issues that you've got in drainage as well.
Retention is potentially something we could do fairly easily now.
Yeah. And we could, that's one thing. So there's a couple things, and we want to know what we're doing once we get the dirt moving, and I don't want to get the dirt moving. So we want to know that, but then we'd have potential to have a lot of dirt left. If we want to, we can burn it up on the hill. We don't have an elevation we have to stay at, but we could create you a lot of dirt for that dike, for that retention pond pretty easily. And we could, if he's scraping it, it would not cost me any more to have him scrape it and take it over there and pile it for you. So that, we're trying to make sure that we're being efficient with this thing. So.
Yeah, so my question is, this isn't joining it to the east isn't going to affect our Montgomery Drive project down the road, right? If we were to get that, grant and start that project, is that? No.
Depends where it crosses the road.
You don't think it,
We would be south of the peak shaving plant and everything. We'd be
I was gonna say, yeah.
way away from, way away from, yeah, where you guys would be. I think. Is that,
One of the-
that creek flows south?
One of the Montgomery Drive plants have a lake in it.
Yeah.
down there.
Well, true.
This could drain in.
Could have drained into that. True. Okay. Yeah, that's a good point.
So we thought if we needed that injection pond on the west, end, we could do that ourselves at a later date.
They're bringing the dirt down there, we can look at the dirt, if it's saving the city money, it's a good option.
We could create, like I said, we could create you some dirt for no cost. I mean, we're moving it in. When I think we're gonna have some excess dirt. So, I mean, we can, like I said, we can burn it up and leave it on the hill. But we could also create you a bunch and have it there for your future intention. So.
Could I speak for just a minute? Yep. Boring the hell out of everybody. A lot of this, I pushed a lot of this. The reason I want to make sure people understand why. What I call the Sager Plant Village, there's two paths the water's going to take here to get to the same creek. Path A is through the plant village. 2 buildings, a couple pits, what we call the headworks, the grinder, all of our lift pumps. And these things are just a tiny little margin above flood where they're at. And I just don't want to do this project, the solar project. You cover a hillside with plastic and steel, you're going to run more water off. That's what common sense tells me. A mild rain, yeah, it's going to soak. We're going to cause a lot of compaction. It's the early years. We're probably worried about the mulch. I just don't want to do this project and then have 4 inches of water or a foot of water on top of the floor down there. $100,000 blowers. A pit that has pumps that pump 100% of our sewage from the town. And if we overflow that, we all know what happens then. We can't keep up anymore. So I to some degree, I pushed this and I think we're doing the right thing here. I think the retention part of it, the dam is kind of indirect, whereas the tile is a direct.
Yeah.
So if that makes sense.
And honestly, like the retention pond piece of that, the plus side of that is if there's any further development on that hillside, whether it's solar, whether it's houses, whatever, that you're gonna need
You're gonna need it anyways.
anyhow. And at some point, this may not create the need. It might not, but at some point, that's probably the next hillside that gets developed.
But I appreciate anything that we do to help the wastewater village not be inundated with more water, because it's already a very, very narrow margin from, okay to trouble.
So option 3 would actually move quite a bit of water, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
You wouldn't have any issue there.
So, mind if I do? Oh, I'm kidding. It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah. Option 1 would move the water. But option 3 would
Do you have a
move it.
preference on these options?
I look at option 1 as just kind of catching the water,
Yeah.
hoping that it
Option
dissipates.
3 will get it away.
Option 3 will allow.
So option 3?
2 and 3
that's,
will
yeah,
allow it to get
that's
it away.
the 8 inches. The
Yeah,
option.
that's the idea. That's going every in the middle, split it down.
Yeah.
I like that option right there.
So that was Terry's recommendation too, is option 3.
It'd be option 1 with option 3. Just so you know,
Yes.
it's option 1 with option 3.
Right.
Are you making a motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion.
So your motion, Mike, then is to accept option 3.
Yes.
So there's a motion by Helm. Seconded by Coop.
Helm,
Yes.
Coop, Cummins,
Yes.
Poston,
Yes.
Okay.
Your completion date's still the same, Randy?
Yeah, tick-tock, Randy. Completion date's coming up.
Yeah, I know.
All right, so let's move on to number 3 under city business is ordinance number 596, an ordinance amending chapter 110 gas utility, section 110.07 of the city code of ordinance. This is the second reading.
We haven't heard anything.
Yeah.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, motion by Passion, seconded by Cummins.
Coop?
Yeah.
Cummins?
Yes.
Passion?
Yes.
Helm?
Okay. Number 4 is ordinance number 597, is an ordinance to amend certain provisions of the City of Tipton Code of Ordinances related to zoning regulations. This ordinance creates public use zoning. We recommend doing all 3 readings. P&Z's resolution recommending this is enclosed in your council packet.
Yeah, this would, in the case of solar project, it would bring in the area of the solar array plus the Sager and other wastewater areas in. The reason why we're talking about having the possibility of all 3 readings tonight is then when you meet again on September 8th, there would be a resolution that would make the annexation complete.
Okay. Motion
Second.
for the first one.
Okay, so yeah, let's do the first reading first.
Motion for the first
Okay.
one.
The motion by Cummins.
Helm second.
Oh, seconded by Helm.
Coop? Cummins?
Yes.
Passion?
Yes.
Helm?
Yes.
Okay.
Motion for the second.
Or the second?
We need a
Yeah,
motion to
suspend.
waive the, or to
Oh,
suspend
yeah.
Yeah.
the rules, yeah.
I'll make a motion to suspend the rules.
Second.
Motion by Passion, seconded by Cummins.
Coop?
Yeah.
Cummins?
Yes.
Passion?
Yes.
Helm?
Yes.
Okay, now motion for the second reading.
Got it.
Okay, motion by Cummins,
Second.
seconded by Helm.
Coop?
Yes.
Cummins?
Yes.
Passion? Helm?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, sorry.
Which is a
I
little
made a
quick.
motion to give her the rules again.
No, we only did it once last time.
Proceed to the third.
Yeah,
okay.
I think we can
Motion
keep
to
going
proceed.
now. Yeah.
So, motion for the third reading.
Motion. Helm got that.
Motion by Helm,
Yep.
seconded by Passion.
Coop?
Sure.
Cummins?
Yes.
Passion?
Yes.
Helm?
Yes.
Okay. Lastly, under city business is resolution number 082525C is the resolution approving application for the urban revitalization tax exemption filed by Tipton Investment Partners LLC located at 411 East South Street, which is CDS building.
There's one thing to mention, and that is from time to time, the state legislature might change the rules on how we can apply this.
Mhm.
And we've heard that the legislature has taken out that part of the tax exemption that would apply to school taxes. So if, for example, if all of our if the entire tax bill is, say, a third school, then the exemption would be a third less than it had been. Linda's trying to arrange a meeting with the county assessor just so that we get on the same page with it. I can't say 100% that law change will affect this application, but it may. And going forward, it's going to affect this program.
So does the applicant know that that law may change this application? Or
We haven't verified yet that.
Okay. I just didn't know if we approve this tonight, are we stuck then, or no?
Because
the legislation changed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that would still be it would still trump whatever we do.
Yeah. Okay.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay. Motion by Passion, seconded by Cummins.
Cummins?
Yes.
Passion?
Yes.
Helm?
Yeah.
Coop?
All right. That concludes city business. So moving on to the departmental reports.
Can I interject real quick? This is Rick with Garden Associates.
Yes.
Could I give you an update on the Tipton or the South Spruce Street project? The road improvement.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So
Yeah, sure.
the contractor ran into a situation this week about they got down to the dirt, the subgrade, and when they do something called the proof roll, they're testing the strength of the subgrade, and typically it passes after they do all their preparation work. But out of the 700 feet that this road improvements doing, about 140 feet of it failed, and it failed in a relatively dramatic fashion where it was the full width for the 140 feet. And this doesn't happen too often. And the only way there's two ways to remedy it. It's one way is to core it out, to dig it out about a foot and put some additional reinforcing rock in the ground. Another way, which happened in Tipton about 25 years ago, was to do continuous reinforcement. For this case, I would recommend the core out and geotextile fabric with rock. And what that does is it just builds a foundation, a stronger foundation for the road. If we don't do it, then the road's going to fail within a year or two, and you're going to have to do this anyways. And so it's one of those unknowns that happens. And unfortunately, this is a pretty significant portion of the road. And I finally got costs back from the contractor, and the change order would be in the order of $17,000 to $19,000. I was thinking it was going to be significantly less, but just with the material that they're bringing in and everything else, that's what their change order amount is. I pushed back a little bit on it, and so that's where we stand right now with the project. And if they were held up today, they weren't able to proceed today after noon, and they're kind of waiting on a decision. I just wanted to see what the council's appetite was for this large of a change order. The project is about a $212,000 project, so it's about 8% of the total project construction costs.
How far down do you have to core out?
We were going to do, typical is 12 inches.
So that's what you're thinking is a foot.
Yes, 1 foot.
Well, it sounds like we don't have a choice.
Right.
Right.
So what street
Like-
was the continual?
Yeah, that one was, I just looked it up this afternoon. It was 5th Street between Plum and Meridian, I believe. And so this did happen in Tipton 25 years ago. I think it has to do with your high water table and just a lot of those issues that you have in that specific area. And it wasn't anything the contractor did. We haven't, so.
This has to be done.
I think what he's looking for is, this isn't on the agenda, but given, whether you give them a go-ahead that can be officially put into the record at the next meeting.
Yes.
I would think so.
Okay.
Say go ahead. So
Yeah.
we can keep
Yeah, it doesn't sound like we really have a choice. So,
Correct.
yeah, let's
All right.
just keep it moving, Rick.
All right. I appreciate that, and we'll. Their plan was to be paving by Friday, so I think they still can meet that timeline. We'll see how that goes.
Okay, awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, now department heads. Brad, Brian, Linda, nothing? Nothing? John?
Oh, you stay quiet.
Clients, fest, last week, or not, Birch Fest last week. Everything went well, so we're accredited for the year.
Awesome.
Mine's just an update. First day of school, everything went really well. We had patrol before and after. They had a 2-hour early out. No incidences whatsoever with kids walking, kids biking, cars, even without a picture taking, went really well.
Good.
School was very good.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I don't want to burst your bubble, you can let them know about Mulberry Street.
Oh, I'm like, what about Mulberry Street? Oh, so of the acquired properties, 105 Mulberry was demolished on Friday.
Looks a
I
lot
didn't
better.
realize I had a bubble. I guess I was like,
Yes.
I'm like, what is happening on Mulberry Street? I don't know what he's talking about. Yes, so the acquired, that's moving forward. That's kind of exciting. It's exciting to me.
It is exciting.
That project is moving
It is
forward and that
exciting.
there's
Yeah.
Going to, 8th Street next.
8th and 11th. So yeah, it sounds like she's going to demolish them all like right away, but then level out 11th Street and 8th Street, and build Mulberry first. So those other lots will sit empty until. But
And does everybody else that have acquired their properties, have they fully acquired them?
no, round 2 has not been finalized yet. I think it's close though.
Yeah.
I think it's close, but hopefully maybe by the end of the week that we'll have them all.
And on the corner of 8th and Orange Street we will be having a single family dwelling going there also.
Yeah, that orange. And it's been an empty lot for quite a while.
Okay.
That's about there too.
Nice.
Brian? There was anything? Council? Nothing? Anybody? Am I forgetting anyone? No? Okay. There's nothing else. A motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Passion, seconded by Cummins.
Ashton,
Yes.
Helm,
Yes.
Coop,
Yeah.
Cummins.
Yes. All right, meeting adjourned. Thank you, everybody.